Good morning. Good morning, everybody. On behalf of Tim Sinks, who I'm sorry couldn't make it today, welcome to Northeast Delta Dental, and the Workplace Security Seminar. My name is Valerie Blake, for those of you who haven't met me, but I'm pretty sure I've met everybody in the room. So again, thank you for coming. I'd like to introduce our presenters this morning. Officer Ryan Howe holds a master's degree in criminal justice law enforcement administration from University of Massachusetts Lowell. He's been with the Concord Police Department for 16 years, first working as a Concord police officer and is now the community officer since September of 2013. I work very closely with Officer Howe with their leadership Greater Concord program, arranging the ride-along programs. Lieutenant John Thomas holds a degree in criminal justice from Northeastern University. He's been with Concord Police Department for over 25 years, starting as a patrolman in 1994. Seen a few changes, Lieutenant? He now serves as a detective sergeant, and now he's a lieutenant. In 2015, he was assigned to be the commander of the Community Services Division. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for coming out. As you all know, the world's changing. And unfortunately, this is something we have to talk about, something we don't want to talk about, but we have to talk about it. So the new training that's out there right now, there's a lot of different, you go online, you'll see all these different trainings of active shooters. The newest and improved, I guess you want to say, is what they call as CRAZE, and it's a civilian response to an active shooter event. So what you're seeing today is the newest. This is what Homeland Security is putting out to businesses and to the other different government and municipal associations to put out there to try to train civilians in this. Unfortunately, we probably deal with over 20 active shooter incidents where mass shootings occur a year in the United States. It's the most in the world, unfortunately. I think you have all the great minds are trying to figure out why these are happening, and nobody really has a real answer. Everybody says it's gun control. Others say it's all mental health. Well, it's probably a little bit of everything. So until we can wrap our hands around it, the best thing that we can do is to give you some tools to deal with the situation. It's gonna improve your chances of survival. It's gonna improve your chances of helping others that are involved in the incident. There's gonna be some video here that is, some of it's graphic. And we try to tone it down, but at the same time, we don't want to tone it down too much because we want to get the point across that what we're dealing with is life and death. So during the presentation, please don't hesitate to raise your hand if you have a question. We will do a question and answer at the end, but during it, please don't hesitate to chime in if you'd like. Okay, turn it over to Ryan.
Good morning. Thank you very much. I like to move around a little bit, but you need me right here, right, for the microphone. All right, awesome. I can't sit still. I find that I like to move around a little bit. Can everybody hear me okay? So, as Lieutenant Thomas says, this is a reality now. Whether it's in school, whether it's a place you work, it's something you have to be aware of. What I don't want you to leave here is to worry. We're doing it to prepare you, just like prepare for fire drills, just like prepare for anything. You always have to play the what if. If something happens when I'm at work, what am I going to do? When you leave here, again, don't worry, is this going to happen? It's going to happen. Most likely it's not, but you can't ignore it because it's out there. It's in the media. We see a lot of mass shootings. We see a lot of school shootings. And there's a lot that we've been trained on that you haven't even heard of because there's only been a death or two. It hasn't been 14 people killed. It's not worthy of media news. There are some out there that we've learned about that you don't know of. Again, we're going to show you some stuff here. There's no way to sugarcoat this. If by all means, if you are uncomfortable with something that we're showing up here or that we're talking about, please don't hesitate to get up and leave the room if it makes you uncomfortable. But it's something that we have to show you. It's something that I want you to be aware of. And our ultimate goal is to keep you safe and to give you ideas and to prepare you, God forbid something happens like this. So just kind of the outline, we're going to show you kind of your psychology of what people do during a a high stress incident. We're going to show you some active shooter events and kind of not only your response, but how you are going to react and how we're going to react, so you know what's going to happen when we arrive. I always say this. I wish they wouldn't do it on the news. They talk so much about the bad guy or the bad girl in the event. I wish they wouldn't. They talk about Columbine. They talk about Sandy Hook. And everybody seems to know who the bad guy is, but they don't know the victims. I would rather talk about the victims. I would rather hear about their lives. And so we don't name any of them. We may name the incident, but I won't name the bad guy in the incident. Why? Because I don't think they deserve the attention that they're looking to get. So, 3 stages of disaster response. When under high stress, you have denial, because people don't think it's going on. They have deliberation. They get to decide what to do. And then the decisive moment. Okay, what am I going to do? Hopefully I can train you to take action. Show of hands, denial. Whenever we see the news report of shootings, what do they say the first thing? What do they say? Well, I didn't think it was gunfire. What did they say I thought it was?
Firecrackers.
Firecrackers. Okay, if you're in the hospital and you hear what sounds like firecrackers, say in your mind, all right, it's probably not firecrackers. How many, raise your hand if you've heard firecrackers in the hospital or at your work. So say that to yourself. Now, it doesn't mean right now that it's going to be. It possibly is. It may be thunder and lightning. Maybe someone dropped a pallet. We don't know. But if you hear something, okay, make a decision. Okay, is this something I need to move? Deliberation, we're going to teach you how to make a choice, and the decisive moment. What we don't want you to do is freeze. We don't want you to just sit there and not do anything. If something bad has happened, we're going to give you some ideas and some decision about what to do. I like this denial. The first stage of denial is no, it isn't. We talk about a little bit of social proof. When you react, people will follow you. For instance, social proof, the Macy's, when you're around a building and people are looking up, what do? What's everybody else do? Everybody looks up. Why? Because someone's looking up, so I might as well look up. So if you're in a scene and you need to move, people are going to move with you. When people that don't know what to do, they're going to move with you. So deliberation. When something happens, you're going to make a decision. So in a high-stress situation, things are going to happen. You're going to get what's called tunnel vision. It's going to slow down. You're not going to really see everything. What we're going to teach you is calm yourself. Use combat breathing. When something bad is happening, I know it's easy to say calm yourself, but take some deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. You want to shift your emotion, and you want to do mental scripting. And mental scripting is your what ifs. You have, as a police officer, when I'm at a scene, I have to think about, okay, what if something happens? What if something happens? I have to be ready for everything. So kind of do that when you go back to your place of employment, or if you're going to school. Try to think about, all right, what's happening right now? If something bad happened, like right now, like for instance, in this room, something bad happened right now, what would you do? What was your first thing? Raise your hand. If something bad happened in this room, like for me, I'd be out this door. Actually, you want me to stay. You would all leave. But how many would you? What?
Well, I'd either duck down on the floor or run, depending on
Right.
where the bullets are flying.
Right. You probably go away from the danger.
Yeah.
Okay. That's something you have to mental script, and hopefully, what we teach you today is you'll think about this. Okay, I'm back in my office. I'm back wherever I'm working. What am I going to do if something bad happens right now? Yes.
Figure out what it is and where it's coming from.
Absolutely. You want to, yeah, what it is. You want to notify people. You want to just leave and someone says, hey, run it. Right. So that's what I mean by like mental scripting. All right, take a drink. So a decisive moment. We want you to take action when action is needed. We don't want you to sit. We don't want you to, we use the term hide and just hope that the bad guy goes away and nothing bad happens. me see, some active shooter. I'm going to read this, but an active shooter event involves one or more persons engaged in killing or attempting to kill multiple people in an area occupied by multiple unrelated. That's the definition. I think we're all aware of it. We all know about it. We always see whenever something happens, they have the FBI, they have people talk. I mean, they talk these things to death on the news. But there is no profile. There is an Avenger mindset. There's some. We don't know who it is. Maybe it's someone that's just been fired from their job. Maybe it's someone with mental health issues. Maybe it's just someone that hits a soft target. We don't know. There is no. Don't try to pick apart. If something is happening or you see concern with someone of your employees, make sure you speak up. Does your store, does your employee have safe reportings? Can you say, hey, I know someone just had a domestic incident. I hope that you report this to your employer to make sure that they're aware that someone's having a problem, mental health issue. But you can't profile the shooter. You can't. Where's my video? All right. Sorry about that. Let's talk about your response. Everybody who hunts? Anybody hunt here? Okay. Has anybody ever heard a gunshot? Has anyone not heard of what a gunshot sounds? Yes.
Could you stand fairly
Closer
close
to
to
it?
the microphone?
Sorry, I move around a lot.
I didn't hear your question. I'm sorry.
Who has never heard a gunshot before? Everybody's heard one, pretty much? All right. Let's see if this works. Now the casing gives it away. That is an actual recording of a gunshot. If you would heard something like that, and I hope you wouldn't say it sounds like firecrackers. Especially, the casing gives it away. You probably won't hear the casing drop a little bit. But if you're in work, that wasn't a gunshot, by the way. If you're in work and you hear something like that, don't deny it. Don't say it's probably just firecrackers. It'll probably just go away. If you hear gunshots, go to your deliberation phase. Make a decision. Notify, hey, we need to call the police. We need to move. Notify your other employees. Say we gotta do something right now. Don't just sit at your desk and say it's probably nothing. Playing dead. We saw this at Virginia Tech. There was a young girl here. She's a speaker here. She played dead and she was shot. We don't recommend playing dead. This is not a good decision, and a lot of people will think to do that by playing dead. We don't want to do this. Why? Because it renders you a victim right here if the bad guy wants to. We've had shootings where people have shot people that are on the ground. So we don't recommend that you play dead. We recommend, and we're going to teach you everybody heard of the run, hide, fight? Has everybody heard that? They've changed it a little bit now to avoid, deny, defend yourself. It all means the same thing. They've just changed the literature on it a little bit like that. Playing dead is not an option. We recommend that you do not play dead in the situation. This guy, now the reason they changed the word to deny, avoid, defend yourself is they felt hide was too passive. And I understand that. It all means the same thing. All right, so this guy, there's an active shooting going on. This guy's hiding behind a desk. What's the problem here?
No escape.
Correct, no escape. Can't go. If the bad guy comes around, he sees him behind the desk, he's done. There's nothing he can do. What else? What are the other problems with this guy?
He can't see what's going on.
Can't see what's going on. Good. He might be able to hear it, but he doesn't know where the bad guy is. What else?
Doesn't have access to anything to protect himself with.
Correct. He's got nothing. That's another one. What else?
He needs to escape. He has probably nowhere.
Yep, nowhere to escape. Anybody else? Think something?
Not much of a plan.
0. Zero plan. He is hiding and he is hoping that either we get there or the bad guy kills himself or he leaves, which is not probably going to happen. Anybody else? What is he hiding behind?
Very flimsy desk.
A flimsy desk. Bullets can travel through that desk. Someone who's spraying and praying, and those bullets are going to go through the desk. It offers you no protection. We offer cover and concealment. He's basically concealing himself. He's basically not offering any cover to himself. If this is his only option, I highly recommend it. Not recommend it, but this is what we don't want you to do. We want you to hide. We want you to make a decisive action. We want you to move. So again, this is the run, hide, fight. Avoid means to run. Deny is to hide. Defend is defend. Defend is your last known. We'll talk about it, but defend is what I want you to do. Where basically, rule number 1 is to avoid it. Rule number 2 is deny, and rule number 3 is defend. If you can always refer back to rule number 1, do it. So let me show you a little video here. Is it too loud? How do I? Well, let me know if it's too loud. This is a school board meeting where a man comes. He's upset at the school board, and I just want to watch a reaction. You can talk about it. Oh.
And from the technology, you'll notice it's on the chart that you have there, and it's part of the plan that we have, that the workshop we're going to have following this meeting, but this would be the first step in that whole process. I have a motion. A motion to everybody in this room behind that counter at the road. Please, certainly, everyone else leave. Hey, sir. John, just let him talk. He's talking. John, go ahead. Ginger. No, Ginger. Oh. Ginger.
May I help her?
Yes.
May I help her?
Is it all right if he helps?
May I help her?
Sir, I don't know who you are.
I'm gonna die today. Bury my wife.
Can we talk for a minute?
No.
Just,
I've already been to prison.
Can I ask you a question?
I've already been to prison.
Can I ask you a question? Sir, I don't know.
That first thing where she is defending herself, don't do that. She's extremely lucky that guy didn't shoot her right now.
Get out.
You see, our benefits have run out. We're broke. You see what I'm saying?
Please explain to us, sir. Please explain to us.
I'm not sure where she worked.
We'll talk to you.
I'm either going to the grave or
Hey, listen to me. Look here. I'm a good guy.
I know you.
I've got a lot with my wife and family. I don't need to die. In the school board here, we just try to do what's best for children. I've been in the system. I was a principal 11 and a half years. I've got a great wife. I've been married to her 40 years. I've got 2 great boys.
Look, see, here's what I don't want to happen. I don't want anybody to, just listen to me for a minute. I don't want anybody to get hurt, and I've got a feeling that what you want is the cops to come in and kill you because you're mad, because you said you're going to die today. But why? This isn't worth it. This is a problem. Please don't. Please don't. Please.
I'm going to kill you. Don't you understand?
So, a little graphic, but we talked about avoid. Comments about that? What they would have done differently, or?
It's kind of confrontational. I mean, at the board,
Yeah.
the guy's arguing with him about it, but maybe that's.
Yeah, did they have opportunities to leave? And granted, I'm not Monday morning quarterback, because I was not put in the situation. Was there, from what we could see, was there an area where they could leave?
A couple of them from the door that they otherwise
Right.
left.
I mean, if they moved, they just kind of sat there. And again, I know they were under stress. They thought they could talk this guy down, but there was an open door there. I don't know what would have happened differently. I'm glad no one was seriously injured or killed here, but avoiding the situation. What do you think you could have done to avoid it? What would you have done if you're in the seat? What would one of you have done? Do you think you would have sat there? What I would hope is that you would have got up and moved. You can't negotiate with someone. Again, I don't want to money order quarterback, but get up, move, avoid these situations. If they all moved, now the bad guy's got the decision what he needs to do. So that's my first thing. The rule number one is to avoid the situation. This is the run part.
That's what surprised me too about the audience. You told them to leave, and they took such a long
I know.
time.
Oh, that's another thing too. What did they grab? They all grab their purses and their bag. Get out. You can always come back. But why? Because that's the social norm. When you leave a room, you're supposed to take all of your stuff and you leave. You fall back because they're not thinking. They're under stress now. You need to move, and fast. The woman that's tried to slap the gun out of hand, don't do that. That is your last option. That is, you're cornered in a room, and that's when you go at it. And fortunately, he didn't kill her.
And what about the other one that just kept coming after her, saying, "Can I help her? Can I help her?" It's like,
Yeah, I just
get out.
move, get fast, and move. Leave all your things behind. Yes.
So, if I heard the video correctly, the shooter gives the instructions for the guys in the front to stay,
Yes.
and then tells the audience to leave.
To leave. Yep.
In that situation, if those guys also ran for the door, how do you know he's not going to chase after everybody and shoot everybody in a herd?
You don't.
You don't. So is it better? So I'm hearing you say it's better for them to run for it instead of following instructions.
Yep, because they're basically sitting ducks right there. Lieutenant, if you have any other thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, it's a game day decision you have to make. We're giving you they were gonna get shot either way. So would you rather just sit and be a victim, or would you try to give yourself a chance? And that's really what we're trying to get across to you, is that we're trying to give you every second counts. So he's obviously can't shoot everybody. If everybody got up and tried to run out, the chance of survival raises a little bit than just sitting there. Now, luckily, he missed everybody he shot at. He was pretty close, and so that's the point. He's trying to get that sitting there, instead of being the victim, try to take it in your own hands. Be the leader of your own destiny. That's really
Taking instructions, not the right thing to do.
well, and like we said, it's a game time decision. You really have to make that decision. You have to look at the situation and decide. If I just sit here, the chances of me being shot, because he's already said he's not leaving here alive. So the chance of me just sitting here.
And the only reason I'm asking is, I'm in HR, so I have to think about explaining this to someone. And, people do what they see on TV, and in the movie review, they say, just do what he says, do what he says. And so it's good for us to know to not do that.
Right.
It's possible.
And like I said, it's a game time decision. You have to make that decision. We're showing you different options. But, I wouldn't stand there. I would try to do something. I tried to talk to them like they did, but at some point, you gotta make a decision.
And we talk about like social norms, and who knows if two people stood up and said, "Let's move." Would others follow? Would others follow? So I don't know, but you would think that maybe if someone says, "Go, let's go," that more people would have taken off. So, yep.
Aren't you taking
more control back by creating that chaos and not listening to him and getting it moving, by throwing him off because he's expecting to have total control over that group, and if you got up and left, he's just lost all of his games not working the way he thought it was. 'Cause, I mean, I've had to use it in the past. So, I mean, that seemed to work out well, because it didn't go as he planned, and it's, I don't know, this seems like you're taking some control back by not following his.
Yeah.
It's a very good point.
Yep.
Good point. Now, I don't know if they didn't show it on the video, but you heard a spraying. Did you hear that spraying? That was him spray painting the circle and the V on the wall. So that took him a while to do that. I don't know if you saw the red. There was a red circle with a V. He was spraying, and they were just standing there watching him. And the whole time he actually had the gun in his hand while he was spraying. So they were just watching him. So there was another opportunity for them to get up and get out.
And I think there was another exit too, which off camera down to like the lower left. I don't know, but I've heard. I think that's where when the shooting started, I believe there was either campus security or another officer that came in and engaged him. So there was another exit there. Did you have a question?
Oh, I was wondering what took. I mean, he was shot. Was that person in the room?
I believe so. I think he came in through the other exit. My understanding is he took a round, and then you see him firing in the air, and then at some point I've been told that he shoots himself, which, for whatever reason, most, we're trained to come in. We don't wait. We don't, call them by. Most of these active shooters, they do end up taking their own lives. And to be honest with you, that's fine, because the people, it's ended. And I don't mean rude. I mean, like, I'm glad the guy's dead. I mean, no innocent people are going to be killed anymore.
And just to clarify, the officer that he was talking to earlier was unarmed. When he's engaged by fire, those are the actual police are actually responding.
That was my
to the
question.
scene.
I didn't know if he was sitting there armed and did nothing.
No, he was not
Right.
armed. They actually tell you, they tell him, listen, he's not armed. Don't, he doesn't pose a threat to you. But yeah, the officers are actually the ones who put him down.
Thank you. So leave as soon as possible. Know your exits. When you're in a room, know, okay, there's an exit there, and there's an exit there. Know where they are. Whenever you're in a room, when you go out, when you're in a theater, know that you don't have to go in, because normally people go in the same way they come out. Know in a theater, at the bottom, usually there's two other exits. If you have to punch through drywall, know that that's an option. It's not the best option. Windows can break if you have to get out. And when we say call 911, we mean call 911 when you are safe. Wait till you are safe. Guaranteed, if there is an incident, we're going to be getting a lot of 911 calls. But when you are safe, I mean, if you leave this building and you run, keep going. Know once you're in a safe location to then call 911. Everybody has a phone. Yes?
Isn't it also important to not assume that other people are calling 911? You said that there will be a lot of calls, but it's still...
Don't worry about that. Because we know we're gonna be inundated with 911 calls. But you're right. Don't assume anything. But don't worry. I need to call 911 now. No, you need to get yourself to a safe location and then call 911. Again, we talked about it. Consider secondary exit. This is from Columbine, getting the kids out through the window. So when I mean deny, this is the hide phase that they've changed. Where we ask, if you're in a room, lock the door, turn the lights out. A lot of people forget to turn their cell phones off, or at least on to vibrate, because remember, you can still hear the vibrate. Keep out of sight. Generally, when someone locks the door, we want people against the wall. Again, it's not ideal because it's drywall, but if you get yourself in that wall with concrete, lie against the wall that's facing the door, that if you can't pull down the window and the bad guy looks in and looks at the room, he probably can't see you because you're at that far angle. That's what we want you to do. And when I mean deny, if you have to barricade the door, desks, whatever, everything you can put in front of your door, barrels, desks, whatever. I'm just trying to think of anything you can have a denial. Even if you can't barricade the door and someone is going to get in, put as much obstacles in that way to basically give yourself some time and distance. Because that's what we're all looking for, is time and distance. because you know we're coming. The bad guy knows we're coming. If we can create more time and more distance, less people will get hurt, and it's quicker for us to get there and save as many people as we can. Different ways to barricade. Heavy is better, more is better. Door stops. Door stops work great on the inside of a door, especially for a door that opens inside. I love this picture. She stacks up everything. Again, they're only chairs and tables, but it's going to be difficult for someone to actually enter that room, even if they can unlock the door. That's another thing too. A lot of schools, and we deal with fire codes, but do you have locks on the inside of your doors wherever you're working? Or the schools? Ask. A lot of people say, well, we do have locks, but we got to reach out and unlock the door from the outside. And it's fine and dandy, but you put that under stress, it's going to be very difficult for someone to find the key and reach in and lock the door. I love this one. I don't know if anybody has any ropes or tactical cinches, but I just thought it's a good idea, though. When you think about it, if you have a rope, a bungee cord, if you have to do this to hold it, I like it. It's a good idea. So whatever you can think about. Yes?
A belt is a good option.
Belt.
For that. And if you got like an automatic door closer,
Yes.
you take the belt and wrap it around that and tighten it around it. And keep it
Great.
closed.
Yeah, it all counts. Anything you can think of, anything you know of to bring back to your organization, let them know. Yes?
Can you repeat what he said, because I couldn't hear.
Good.
Oh, I'm sorry. Option is a belt. You can use a belt to put around the
A belt.
handle. Or if you have a automatic door closer, if you wrap the belt around the outside of that, up against the door frame or the door itself, and tighten that down around and tie it up, it can actually help keep the door closed if you don't have a lock on the door.
Thank you.
Something I do.
Thank you. Okay, rule number 3, defend yourself. This is your last option. This is, I can't run. I can't hide. I'm sorry, I can't deny access. This is your last option. This is the Flight 93. The guys in the flight can't run because they're on a plane. They can't hide because they're on a plane. They had to defend themselves. They knew they were probably going to crash the plane. And I hope I'm not speaking if anybody had any relatives, but this is the best example I can give. These guys had to defend themselves. This is, the bad guy has now entered the room. All the doors are locked. There are no windows. And this is where you need to defend yourself. And when I say defend yourself, I mean defend yourself. It doesn't have to be a fair fight. Pull, grab, bite, punch, fire extinguishers, staplers. If you throw a stapler at someone and hit them in the head, it's going to hurt. Do what you need to be necessary. Don't worry about, I'm going to violate policy, I'm going to hurt someone. You laugh, but some people think that people under stress are like, what can I do? Go after him. And when I say defend yourself, I mean defend yourself. Put that person down and do whatever you need. If you have a bunch of people in the room, be a motivator. Because a lot of people won't be able to stand up and do something. So find the people in the room that you know are going to stand up. And again, one person stands up, the other person's going to stand up. Speak to them. Tell them what you're going to do. Hey, this guy's coming in the room. We are going to get him. We are going to go home. We are going to see our family. We're going to have a good mindset. And we're going to attack this guy and we're going to go home. This gentleman here, Lieutenant Brian Murphy, this is what he said. He was in a gunfight. I think he can just whisper now. And he was in a shootout at a active shooter. I think 6 people were killed. He was shot in the neck. But his mindset, and they teach us in police, you got to have a mindset. And I'll repeat this. I'm not going out in a parking lot. I'm not going out like this. I'm not going to let my wife down. I'm not going to let my daughter down. I'm not letting my stepkids down. This is a great, they talk about the warrior mindset. And as a police officer, if you may be shot, you may be injured but you know that if you're shot, you're not down. You need to defend yourself. You go until you can't go anymore. That mindset will greatly help you to know that I'm going to win. I'm going to go home. I'm going to see my family. It seems very drastic that I'm telling you this, but it helps. They teach it in police work. They should teach, and we're teaching everybody now. Have that warrior mindset that you're going to win and you're going to go home. Always remember that you are not helpless in these incidents. And what you do matters. What you do matters to your colleagues, what you matters to everybody. Just briefly, I kind of like this. It just gives you kind of a quick rundown. So when attack starts, the primary act, what should you do?
Run.
Run. All right, so you avoid. Oops, sorry. Oh my God, this is awful, sorry. It's not working there. Basically, sorry about this, it gets screwed up. It's supposed to stay highlighted. Basically, if you deny, basically you have to hide out. If there's other exits, go back to phase 1, avoid. And then obviously you got to defend yourself. Sorry about this, it's supposed to stay highlighted. So our response, when police arrive, we're not going to know what's going on. It's going to be chaotic, it's going to be crazy, it's going to be the worst scene that we respond to. We're not going to know who the bad guy is, or bad guys, or bad girls are, because they don't wear shirts that say, I am the shooter, I am the bad guy. Be careful, I don't know what your policy is about being armed, and because if we go to a scene and you're trying to defend yourself and you have a gun, best to put that gun down, because we're not going to know who the bad guy is. We may think you are the bad guy. We're going to ask as much information as possible. But this is our goal. We want to stop the killing. When we respond to an active shooter scene, we enter the building and we are to stop the killing. We are to put the bad guy down or do whatever means necessary. That means stepping over people that are injured, stepping over children that are injured, stepping over the elderly that are injured. That is our motivation. Once we have the scene contained, that's when we stop the dying. That's when we protect the people, get the fire department in, and we evacuate the area. So it may seem cold if you're in this situation, but we are not there to help people that are injured. Our first goal, our number one priority, is to stop the killing.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yes.
See, a lot of people think that's callous. They're like, well, why isn't the officer stopping and helping? Well, we're not trained we're trained in very bare minimum first aid response. So our goal is to put the shooter down so we get the real medical folks in and supply the medical need that these folks are going to need, because you're going to see some serious injuries. You're going to see gunshot wounds. So that's our goal. Our mission is to go in and get the bad guy and get the real medical people in there to help those.
Yeah. I think our training a little bit different. We're trying to get some hot zones and warm zones, but we haven't been fully trained on that. But I mean, that's our goal, is to stop the bad guy. So when we arrive, if you're running out, if you're in there, listen to us, follow your commands. You may be handcuffed. We don't know what's going on. If we enter a room and the bad guy's there, we put the bad guy out, we may handcuff everybody because we don't know what's going on. Or we may say, listen, move, move, move. Keep your hands up, make sure we can see your palms, or don't move when we tell you. Listen to what we tell you to do. We may tell you to hide out. We may pass you in your room. You may be stuck in the room. We say, all right, stay there, keep the door locked, and we may move because maybe we hear the gunshots and all other. Just so make sure you listen to what we tell you to do. Again, real quick, medical, there's going to be a delay. We know there's people who need help. Again, this goes into more of the type of training we've changed to. Go back to your agencies. I hope you have EAPs because you're going to have some mental trauma, physical trauma, and hope that we always put this in there. Develop a critical incident stress management plan. Go back to your agency. Make sure they have this possible. Make sure they have policies on active shooters, and make sure they have policies on what to do if you've been involved in this incident. Any questions? Okay. Yes?
Can you tell me a little bit more what's in those policies?
I'm gonna defer to my lieutenant here.
Policies on, could you clarify the question?
What did you call it?
Like a EAP or like a employee assistance plan?
Yeah, okay. What's in those policies?
Well, I think it's up to each company,
Individual.
business. You know, like we have our own set policy. You know, if somebody's, as a supervisor or human resource, you know that you have an employee that's having some sort of a mental health issue or some sort of situation that's occurring at home that's affecting their work, you can recommend them to see some sort of an emergency plan. like, we have a specific policy, so it's really up to your business or company to come up with their own. Just something to think about, because if you are involved in one of these traumatic events, you'll have the post-traumatic stress afterwards. I mean, it's a life-altering event.
Cool. Again, I'm going to show you a video, see if I can get it started. This is still a good video. It's a little graphic, so I'm glad everybody's still here. This is the run, hide, fight. Again, we use avoid, deny, defend. Just kind of a video of just a whole active shooter scene.
It may feel like just another day at the office, but occasionally, life feels more like an action movie than reality. The authorities are working hard. It may feel like just another day at the office, but occasionally, life feels more like an action movie than reality. The authorities are working hard to protect you and to protect our public spaces. But sometimes bad people do bad things. Their motivations are different. The warning signs may vary, but the devastating effects are the same. And unfortunately, you need to be prepared for the worst. If you were ever to find yourself in the middle of an active shooter event, your survival may depend on whether or not you have a plan. The plan doesn't have to be complicated. There are 3 things you could do that make a difference: run, hide, fight. First and foremost, if you can get out, do. Always try and escape or evacuate, even when others insist on staying. Encourage others to leave with you, but don't let them slow you down with indecision. Remember what's important, you, not your stuff. Leave your belongings behind and try to find a way to get out safely. Trying to get yourself out of harm's way needs to be your #1 priority. Once you are out of the line of fire, try to prevent others from walking into the danger zone and call 911. If you can't get out safely, you need to find a place to hide. Act quickly and quietly. Try to secure your hiding place the best you can. Turn out lights, and if possible, remember to lock doors. Silence your ringer and vibration mode on your cell phone. And if you can't find a safe room or closet, try to conceal yourself behind large objects that may protect you. Do your best to remain quiet and calm. As a last resort, if your life is at risk, whether you are alone or working together as a group, Fight. Act with aggression. Improvise weapons. Disarm him. And commit to taking the shooter down, no matter what. Try to be aware of your environment. Always have an exit plan. Know that in an incident like this, victims are generally chosen randomly. The event is unpredictable and may evolve quickly. The first responders on the scene are not there to evacuate or tend to the injured. They are well trained and are there to stop the shooter. Your actions can make a difference for your safety and survival. Be aware and be prepared. And if you find yourself facing an active shooter, there are 3 key things you need to remember to survive. Run, hide, fight.
Questions on the video? Some people came up with a thing.
They had been moved further away from.
That's what came up. So that always comes up, like why are they hiding behind a dump? I don't know how far. I know they were just doing it for the video, but I would get away as far as you can go to a safe location. Maybe they just thought, that question came up, why are they going up the stairs? But maybe that's the only place they can go. I don't know. But I would get as far away as possible to a safe location. Yeah, maybe. Again, I can't give you an answer because each business, each organization, school, everything's different. But I would keep going until you feel that you're safe before you call 911.
I'm actually using that video to train
Yep.
our group. I already ran it once, but it was on the FBI website, but they pulled it off, or at least, but you can still get it on YouTube.
Yeah, we actually looked it up to try. There are a ton that you can look on YouTube and stuff. They're all pretty good. Yeah, LA's got one.
LA County.
Yeah.
LA County has a factory.
I like that one because it gets to the point. There's another one that they also have, the Avoid. It's 10 minutes long. Yeah. It's a little bit long, but on the same token, it has some. It's a little more graphic, but it puts home to the point that this is reality. This is how it is. So there are we looked for there are a ton of other training videos that you don't have to show this one. You can show anyone as long as it's showing you kind of what to do. The 3 phases. Yes. Texting, is it available yet for us?
For us?
It's not available in New Hampshire.
I don't know about enhanced 911 but it may go through, may not, I don't know. Doesn't, see, 911 does, a lot of people think 911 comes to us. It does not come to us, it goes to the state. And I do not know if they're set up. It's a good question.
I mean, I like the idea if you're hiding in a room. I mean, I think it's.
I mean, if there's someone who's not able to speak.
Right. Yes.
Our police department said don't text. We're in a rural area.
Yep.
So they said call, but agreed if you're hiding and you can't use your phone any other way.
Yeah. Yeah. But remember, everything's recorded. If you call 911, you can't say anything. We might be able to also hear stuff in the background. And then we can also ping cell phones to find out the locations of where it is. And, it also helps us because everything is recorded too.
These are some of the things you want to think about, though. If you are in a rural area, you've got to have a plan. You've got to have an action plan, and that's kind of the purpose of this whole thing, is for you to think. So everybody in here has a fire alarm plan, right? You have a fire alarm that goes off in the building. Everybody has a plan. You go out a certain way, you leave the building a certain way, and you all meet up in a certain area, right? I mean, 90% of us have those plans. This, we want you to treat just like Officer Howe said at the beginning. we want you to have a plan. You got to think outside the box. You want to have a plan set aside for your employees, for yourself, to know what do we do. So when this does happen, you somewhat have some sort of an idea how you're going to react to it.
And speaking of fire alarm, they do not recommend people pull the fire alarm, because during an active shooter event, if you need to hide and you're under stress, if you pull the fire alarm, everybody's going to be leaving, and that's what we don't want. Now, granted, it may be pulled, the bad guy may pull it, but we don't recommend for the people working there is to pull fire alarms during an active shooter event, because it screws up. I think it just screws up everybody.
You would think it would cause more stress. People would think there's a fire.
Correct.
Right.
And you're going to react like the way you're reacting to the fire alarm. That's not what we want you
They
to do.
don't know that it's an active shooter, they'll run right into them.
Correct. Does your business do you have announcements? Do you have do you have a PA system so you're aware that you can tell people, hey, there's an active shooter. People use code words. People use all different things like this. I prefer it with active shooter. This is not a drill or something like that. The way to notify people, because your business may be huge. You may not know that there's something going on at the far end of the corner. We like some sort of PA system or some sort of notification phone system that you can use to let everybody know that this is happening.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, hopefully